Well, Rob, after trailing 16-3 during the first half, I'm sure you're very pleased to come away with at least a bonus point.
Yeah, and I think that's the reality of the situation. I think we didn't start well enough in that first quarter to then ultimately at the end of the game say we're disappointed. And obviously you want to win every game you're playing, but I think to come away to London Irish and get the losing bonus point on a ground where we didn't perform well last year and were well beaten, I think is obviously an improvement. It's something we vowed we'd try and do this season, which was to just get a bit better. Obviously a losing bonus point is an improvement on last year. We're still very competitive in every game we play, which is obviously a massive positive. But what we do have to address is that slow start today, which has ultimately cost us a real chance of winning the game. Although ultimately with 5 or 6 minutes left to go, it looked like we were the team who was really pushing for it and was going to get that final score that would have finished things off. But no, ultimately you've just, like I say, you've got to look to improve, but you've also got to be realistic and say, right, there's things we didn't do quite well. Let's address them, and that gives us a better chance next time we play.
Slow start has happened in 1 or 2 other games recently. Are you able to put your finger on what's causing that? No,
I think I've just had a quick chat with the players about it. I think ultimately you've got to be very careful about it, and I think ultimately the individuals can do a lot about it themselves. If we sit and analyse that game, there'll be a numerous individual errors or mistakes or moments of lacking clarity, and if you get rid of those, then the team itself functions very well. And I just think that's a responsibility thing that we've all got to take. Coaches, we're trying a variety of things to make the start of the game a little bit different, and maybe it just comes down to just saying, look guys, we started poorly for a few weeks, let's get out the blocks, let's fly into it, let's not be overly concerned about, I almost thought we looked a little bit worried at the start of the game, and it actually compounded. We almost put pressure on ourselves to try and do something that we ultimately didn't need to do, and I think that's why the game got away from us. So, if it's for me to try and relieve the pressure in some way and make sure the guys are going out there and enjoying trying to dominate a game of rugby, then that's my job. But I can deal with that in the review process tomorrow. We'll sit down with all the guys, have a good chat about it, and if we get on top of it, it'll be a good improvement for us.
The tactics seem to change between the start of the first half, start of the second half, kicking the ball a lot early in the first half, second half you're keeping it more ball in hand. Yeah, and I think ultimately, although it seems like we must do this as a coaching staff, we very rarely say to the guys, right, we're going to kick a lot of ball today, and then go, right, we're going to run a lot of ball today. We kind of try and say to them, these are the options. Sometimes if you run a little bit, you'll open up a bit of backfield space for you then to kick in. Other times, you might want to kick early, and we'll just try and pressurise an error in their game. Or there are various reasons why you do things. But I think what happens is ultimately we have a bit of success doing one thing, and then we probably stick at it for too long. So I think the Dragons games, we played a very good territory-based game. It worked very well for us in those games, and so ultimately we kind of dragged it through into this game maybe a little bit too much. Half time it was very easy for us, we were sending the message on about having the confidence to play, and that was going to create a bit more space for us to kick into, and we probably actually overplayed. We kept the ball for probably longer than we needed to, when we were creating some good opportunities where a good kick would have taken big chunks of territory and put London Irish under pressure. And those are just things we've got to learn as we go along, but they don't happen overnight, and we've got to understand that players are gaining experience all the time. I said to somebody as an example, Ignacio Ramirez has probably played about a dozen games of Premiership rugby. We come into the Christmas weekend in third and doing well in our Amlin, and the reality is we've still got groups of players who are in their 12th, 13th, 14th Premiership game, and those guys will get better. But they'll only get better by playing and experiencing things, and we as coaching staff have got the responsibility of just trying to accelerate that as much as we can. Seemed to be a big call in the first half with the high tackle by Dylan Armitage on Ignacio Ramirez. What was your view on that?
Like I said, someone else asked me, and I've only seen it once. It is a swinging arm kind of across the face, but is it part of a tackle? We're a long way away up here in the top of the grandstand. The touch judge was right down there next to it. He probably has a bit better understanding of it, whether there was any malice in there or the actual force of the connection. So they've made their call. And unless I look at it a few more times and see something tremendously different, then for me they've dealt with it.
Big game just 5 days away now. Harlequins top of the table, final day of the year at Sandy Park. It doesn't get too much better than that to see out the year.
No, that's kind of the way it should be, you know, and I just hope, you know, that we enjoy it for what it is and don't go into it feeling a little bit sorry for ourselves that we haven't won here or whatever. You know, in the end we've put an incredible performance here. We've got to put an incredible one next week, and you know, that's what being in the Premiership is about. You know, I think for us, you just got to free the boys up to get out there and play well and enjoy playing against Harlequins in front of a sellout crowd. And yeah, we play very well at home. You know, and we've just got to get out there. Like I say, if we play well, I'll take any result. Today I thought there appears when we didn't play as well as we could, and so I'm a little bit disappointed, but ultimately, you know, there's a realism of where we are as a team, and we've got to just keep pushing forward and just keep trying to get better.
You can take a lot of confidence from your performance up at the Stoop, though, which was a game which 1 or 2 refereeing decisions had gone the other way, you would have won. Yeah,
but I think ultimately close Premiership games of rugby, you could say that about virtually any game. You know, the odd call here, the odd decision there, by referees or by players themselves. You know, we had some opportunities where a different pass or a better pass or a different option would have created more things for us. You know, there was a period, you know, in the first half when we were pressing 5 metres out, when there was a couple of passing options that would have walked in tries, and we didn't take them. We've got to learn to get better and take those. So, you know, I'm more concerned about where we want to head as a team and what we want to achieve than, you know, than when things tip in your favour or they don't. I think we've just got to work hard to make sure we're in a position where, you know, you make things go in your favour maybe.
Quick turnaround. You're going to have to look to make changes for Saturday. It was 5 days, isn't that long between two big games?
Well, we'll have a good assessment of the squad now. You know, if the boys are fresh and raring to go, and we'll see that tomorrow and in the training day, then, you know, we don't necessarily need to make a lot of changes. You know, I think what we just need to do is just be in a good place when the game starts, and we'll see what happens. And you know, like I say, it's nothing spectacular. It's another game of rugby. You know, Harlequins are in exactly the same boat as us. Then it'll be a fantastic day, a fantastic atmosphere, and let's hope it suits us more than it suits Harlequins.
And you must have been pleased with the impact your bench made today.
Yeah, well, the bench were always going to have a big part in today's game. You know, we were always going to get them on early, regardless of how the game was going. Primarily because obviously we've got that short turnaround next week. We felt we had a very strong bench here today. So you know, I wouldn't say I was obviously pleased by the impact, but I almost was expecting that. I thought they'd come on and play well, and they did. You know, in a performance when the team itself was improving. So, you know, it's just something we've got to deal with. We're just going to make sure we're getting out of the blocks a bit quicker. You know, we tend to be a good team after half time. If we can be that good, you know, when the first whistle blows, you know, we'll start. Like I said to a few people, you know, we can turn into a team that will win more than we lose if our just kick-off time, our first pieces of play are just a little bit better.
Well, thank you for joining us, Rob, and all the very best on Saturday.
Thank you very much.